Hiya friends, Prepared Suburbanite back at you with this week's video and update on the big old dead tree that fell. I'm going to show you kind of what we got done here, what I got done here. There's the split wood pile there behind me, you can see, and it's got, it's probably a good solid face cord in there, and that's just from the upper branches of the tree. And I've still got this whole thing here to buck up and get ready to split. I got my trusty little splitter here that I got from Harbor Freight a number of years ago, and it's still working pretty good. So if you want to stick around for the rest of the update on the big old dead fallen tree and a couple of other thoughts I think are of very current interest, so stick around. Welcome back to the channel, Prepared Suburbanite here. Been busy pretty much all week long trying to deal with this big old dead tree that fell in the backyard. It's a tulip poplar, best I can tell from the leaf arrangement and the way the bark looks and stuff like that, and looking at similar trees around here. This one probably was the granddad. It's probably 34 inches around at the base. And so up in here where I'm sitting right now, I'm sitting on the log. It's probably about 22 inches, and there's a lot of wood in here. It's decent burning kind of stuff, still quite a bit wet, even though the tree was mostly dead. There was still quite a bit of it that's still alive, and when it hit the ground, a lot of the limbs just absolutely shattered. So there was a big mess to clean up. I've got some video footage of some of the work during the week, and probably got maybe a face cord of wood out of the upper limbs and stuff like that. And there's probably another face cord of wood sitting down here on this log that I've still got to buck up. But that's kind of not what I'm really here to talk about. It's a good update for what I've been doing to keep busy for this week. But I saw earlier this week that Superman has come out being bisexual, I guess is the word that they're using to describe his current situation. I can remember as a kid, my buddy Greg, he was the Marvel comic book guy. He loved Marvel comics, Captain America and all that. And I was the DC Comics guy. So what we would do is every time a new issue would come out, we'd take our allowance money and I'd go buy the DC comic books, Flash, Action Comics, Superman, Batman, all those guys. And he'd go on his side and get the Marvel comics, Captain America and the Fantastic Four and stuff like that. And we'd read them through and trade off with each other, just so that we could each catch up on our second favorite brands of comic books when we were kids. And I had quite a collection by the time I was an older teenager, and ended up, unfortunately, giving it away to a young kid. Very unfortunate family kind of a situation. His parents were separated, his father passed away. His mother basically abandoned him, and his grandfather was raising this kid. And he was probably 7 years younger than me. And they lived right down the street, down the road. And so I kind of felt sorry for the kid. When I outgrew my comic books, I gave all my comic books to this kid. His eyes bugged right out of his head when he saw me coming with a box full of comic books. But that's not the story. I'm pretty much dismayed about the impact that the social justice warriors are having on our kids right now. I think it started with the Green Lantern, and he turned out to be gay. And then it was Robin, Batman's sidekick. It was really not what I expected our kids to be exposed to. I can remember reading those comic books when I was a kid and looking at truth, justice, and the American way, and that's what I think really disappoints me even more, is that the literature, the comic books, the escapes that kids really need to get engaged with activities and stuff. It was, in my day, it was all about the American way. Superman could jump higher and run faster and do all those kinds of things, but he fought for the American way. And Batman did the same thing, and Robin did the same thing, and the Flash did the same thing, and Captain America, oh my goodness, he did the same thing. And the message that we're allowing our kids to indulge in right now is pretty much anti-American, and my heart breaks for what's going on with the kids today. I just see a total lack of respect. I don't see any patriotism. They're being taught to base decisions on the color of somebody else's skin. And it just breaks my heart that there isn't anything patriotic. It's all anti-American baloney that's being fed to these kids, and people wonder why the kids act up the way they do. Well, I think that's one of the big reasons. So that's one thing. Over the course of the last couple of days, I've heard that there was a new law passed in Texas that requires teachers to provide alternate education, alternate experience, alternate explanations of history. And the example that they cited was the Holocaust. And I saw posts on social media that would say, you know, Texas is now supporting Mein Kampf as an alternative to the Holocaust. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm seeing this on social media. I look at who posted or shared or retweeted those kinds of posts, and they're all liberals and lefty liberals that are posting this kind of stuff, saying, oh my God, Texas is such a horrible, horrible place that they're actually coming up with alternatives to the Holocaust. Oh my God, that can't possibly be. But I never saw it anyplace else. I saw it on social media. I saw a segment on MSNBC, I think last night, where all the talking heads on MSNBC were just going absolutely ape crazy about how evil and terrible that the state of Texas is with regard to this new law that requires them to teach alternatives to the Holocaust. Well, so I did a little bit of research on my own to try to figure out exactly what's going on. And it appears that Carroll School District's Executive Director of Curriculum, and I suspect that Carroll Schools District is in Texas somewhere. Her name is Gina Petty, P-E-D-D-Y. And she's basically come out to say that the top administrator in the Carroll Independent School District in South Lake, Texas, advises teachers last week if they have a book about the Holocaust in their classroom, that they should also offer students access to a book from the opposing perspective, according to an audio recording obtained by NBC News. And what's the alternative to the Holocaust? Well, I guess it would be reading Mein Kampf, Hitler's book, My Struggle. Well, here's what the law really says. For any social studies course in the required curriculum, a teacher may not be compelled to discuss a particular current event, keyword current, or a widely debated and currently controversial issue of public policy or social affairs. Section 2, a teacher who chooses to discuss a topic described in number 1 above shall, to the best of the teacher's ability, strive to explore the topic from diverse and contending perspectives without giving deference to any one perspective. The key word there is current events and current public policy and current public affairs, social affairs. This school administrator, who's in charge of the curriculum, by the way, in this particular school district, decided to equate a current event called the Holocaust, which is not a current event anymore. It's been pretty much etched in history 70 plus years ago when it all started. Millions and millions of Jews were mercilessly slaughtered at the hands of the Nazis. That's not a current event. This article, this law in Texas is asking teachers to look at current events, and if they wish to tackle current events, they need to be balanced and kind of give both sides of the story. Her example that she used and picked this horrible atrocity out of the annals of history and said, oh, we have to now teach alternatives to the Holocaust. Well, the liberal media went crazy. Oh my God, Texas, they should be all rounded up and deported or whatever. They were just, their heads were exploding. And I was just beside myself until I found out the truth. And the truth is that this law has nothing to do with the Holocaust, nothing to do with any atrocities of the past. It's there to make sure that teachers, when they explore current events that are sensitive, that are current, provide a balanced perspective. And that's how teachers teach. That's how children learn. So when we do that kind of stuff, it may actually benefit all involved. Pretty much disgusted with the whole thing. So given that particular mess in Texas, plus our new Attorney General in name only, that he's mobilized his forces to investigate the parents at school board meetings and look at them as if they are domestic terrorists because they are speaking their minds about the curriculum that their children are exposed to, I think says an awful lot about the direction that this country's taken. We've got a responsibility as conservatives to get the word out. I'm using this platform to try to help educate and to try to mobilize the conservative forces, the conservative voices that need to be heard in our local school districts, in our local governmental jurisdictions. You've got to be active. You've got to step out. I'm doing it. I'm doing it in my neighborhood. I'm doing it on my YouTube channel, and I'm doing it through my religious affiliations, and we'll just leave it at that. This is the Prepared Suburbanite reminding you, that knows there's never a better time to start prepping. In fact, we've got very little time left. So be prepared always, and I'll see you all on the next video.